Hello, my name's Paul Stewart and I'm in Helsinki Airport, and later this evening I'm flying to Hong Kong with Finnair in the Airbus A350 in business class. So as with all these journeys, let's start in the lounge. Here we are in the Finnair lounge in the non-Schengen area, which is currently under construction, so unfortunately it was pretty crowded and had limited seating. According to the website, construction should be completed by the end of 2019. There was a decent array of self-serve nibbles, including hot and cold food, and a selection of self-serve drinks. I had a quick bite and then I headed out as I was keen to get some footage of my aircraft arriving. On the way out, there's a few items for sale, including these two A350 models, giving us a brief preview of what tonight's aircraft would look like. Now the terminal itself seems really new, modern and clean. If you listen really carefully now, you can hear bird noises, which is an upgrade on most toilet soundtracks. There was this massive display of a wintry nature scene, presumably from somewhere in Finland, and it looked great, although unfortunately my camera didn't do it justice. Here's our aircraft arriving at the gate. It's one of Finnair's 14 Airbus A350-900s, and this particular one was delivered in April 2016. Finnair was the third airline behind Qatar and Vietnam to fly the A350, which replaced the A340 fleet, and their current A330 fleet looks like it'll be retired in coming years as more A350s arrive. The biggest problem with the A350 is that it looks so good, with almost perfect proportions, and it's creating a divide within aviation geek communities about which is the best looking passenger airliner in the world. The Boeing 747 has held the crown for decades, but the A350 is giving it a run for its money. I can't decide, so feel free to convince me by commenting below and vote in my poll with your thoughts. And speaking about a whole lot of different aircraft, if you're into planes, please check out my channel for many more videos, including flights on board Qantas, Japan Airlines, Cathay, Qatar, BA Malaysian, Lufthansa, Emirates and many more. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell so that YouTube lets you know when I've uploaded something. Unfortunately for us, there appeared to be something wrong with engine number 2 and the flight was delayed by 60 minutes, so I grabbed one of these comfy seats and relaxed. Eventually the engine was given the all clear and we boarded. There are two business class cabins and my seat 7L was in the second last row in the forward cabin. The seats are all in a 1-to-1 layout, which is the industry standard these days and gives direct aisle access to everyone. I'll run through my seat in a little more detail, starting with a reading lamp and then a cluster of power plugs, seat adjustment buttons and the in-flight entertainment remote if you don't want to use a touchscreen. Continuing around is what appears to be an unnecessarily large storage spot for your headphones and a decent sized ledge. Under that is a fold-out table which feels nice and solid and it doesn't trap you in place while the meal service is running, so that's handy to know. Down next to your knees are magazines and a water bottle holder, and in front of you is a reasonably large ledge with room for your bag underneath, and this obviously joins in with the chair to form a fully flat bed. There's an in-flight entertainment screen which I'll talk about more later, and above that are reading lamps, although unfortunately there's no individual air vents, which is a pity as I usually like a bit of airflow when I'm trying to sleep. Around on the other side is this enclosed storage spot with the noise cancelling headphones inside and an adjustable armrest next to that. And I'll finish off with a fantastic view of the wing and engines. Here's the Amman kit, which I'll be giving away to a subscriber, and I'll include more details of that later. These were refreshed last year, as were the cabin colours in general. The main shape of the seats remained the same, but the pillows, blankets and amenity kits, which were previously a bright green colour, have been replaced by these darker blues. I must admit that I quite like the old colours, and the new colours are quite conservative. A round of drinks arrived, and the champagne was served in these unique Finnish glasses. I should also point out that they provide slippers, which a lot of airlines don't in business class, although unfortunately there were no pyjamas. I put on the noise cancelling headphones and started up the in-flight entertainment. Unfortunately for ages there was just this Finnair advertisement, or advertisement, or is it advertisement? Anyway, I'm not sure. Feel free to comment below if you can speak better English than I can and know the answer. Anyway, it went on for ages and it was a little frustrating as I just wanted to watch something interesting. The Rolls-Royce Trent XWB started up and we backed out. Before we take off, I'll quickly run through the in-flight entertainment which was eventually available to watch. One thing I really like about this newer generation of aircrafts is the high definition cameras on the tail and other spots that provide a really cool view, especially if you're stuck in the aisle seat. There was only an average amount of English content, and while there were a few TV series available, there weren't actually many episodes to watch. There were a few movies, and the quality of the screen was okay and the touch response also works fine, but overall, as I said, the English content was very limited. Lucky for me, I had learnt this on a previous flight, so I had loaded my laptop with some extra entertainment. But one thing I really did like was this button that allows you to skip the ads before movies. That's the first time I've seen that on a plane, and I thought it was really cool. And finally, here's the in-flight moving map, which is really detailed and again provide minutes of entertainment for this travelling and aviation nerd. As soon as the interior lights were dimmed, the exterior lights were turned on and the engine was lit up and actually looked really cool. As always, I'll edit through the takeoff, but the full takeoff video will be in my second channel, Paul Stewart Extra, and I'll include a link to that in the video description below. The views of Helsinki at night and the moon reflecting off the ocean were pretty epic, and once our rate of climb settled a little, the crew brought around a wet towel and then a round of drinks. First up, I had this Arctic Blue gin and tonic, which was served with some room temperature nuts. By the way, I'll post up the full menus at the end of the video. This was followed up by a double bilberry, which was dangerously tasty, and then the main meal. There was this Finnish bread thing, which I'm sure had a unique Finnish name, and the starter was this cold smoked salmon and potato salmon brandade, which I forgot to look up how to pronounce before I did the voiceover for this video. For the main, I ordered this reindeer, which rather humorously looked at nothing like the picture on the internet and tasted quite odd. Now it's hard to describe tastes as it's obviously very subjective, but I wasn't a huge fan. And for dessert, I had this chocolate cake with chili and a blue sky cocktail, which was blueberry juice and champagne. Next up was a trip to one of the 4 toilets for the 46 business passengers, which was pretty self-explanatory. It had some green bits and a window. It was around 90 minutes from departure now, so I put the seat into flight mode and may have snuck in another double bilberry. The legroom is adequate, although it does become quite tight, especially if you like to sleep on your side and bend your knees a little. Next up was something unique to Finnair, which is where they use the cabin's lighting to recreate the Northern Lights, which was a novelty, and then I went to sleep. Unfortunately, I slept through the sunrise and I'm slightly regretting that, as I'm sure that the winglet and engines would have made for some stunning shots, although the view over inland China, once the sun was up, certainly wasn't a letdown. After spending 30 minutes glued to my window, it was time for breakfast, which tasted great. I went for the apple crumble, granola, yogurt, fruit and a croissant with orange juice, followed by some more amazing views out of the window. Now I should point out that you can buy in-flight Wi-Fi, although business class passengers get 60 minutes for free, but just be aware that you can only use that on one device. I didn't end up connecting, as I don't actually mind having a few hours break from the World Wide Web, which is a tongue twister, and enjoyed the simple things such as these amazing cloud formations out of my window. We actually flew over Hong Kong itself and then did a few massive loops as we descended down into our destination. So how was the flight? Firstly, the Airbus A350 is a fantastic aircraft. The higher cabin humidity really dries you out far less than the older generation of airliners, and it's pretty quiet, although still nowhere near as quiet as the A380, which itself is an absolute engineering marvel. And the view out of the windows, and that wingtip especially, is amazing. The seat itself is perfectly good. The cushion felt a little hard, although I didn't have any problem sleeping on it. Legroom, as I said before, was fine, although once you turn it into bed mode, legroom becomes a bit tight. The in-flight entertainment really had limited English content, and the Finnair advertising at the start was a little painful after the 17th loop, although I really appreciate the ability to skip the ads with a single button. It was just a pity that we couldn't skip the Finnair ad. The food and drink were perfectly fine, with the exception of the weird tasting reindeer, and a special mention must go to the double bilberry, which was dangerously good. The crew were also quite good as well. They were friendly and engaging, and the meals were delivered and removed promptly. There was also regular replacements of the double bilberry, which went down a treat. Finnair offers reasonable prices from Australia to Europe in business class. In fact, this flight was quite literally half the price of Qantas via Perth, so they're a really good option. If Helsinki isn't your destination, you'll have to have another short flight within Europe, and that could be a bit of a pest considering many alternative options would have one less stop from Australia, but obviously this has to be weighed up with the cheaper price. Now I've got 2 more Finnair flight reviews coming on board the A330 and A320, so make sure you're subscribed so YouTube tells you when I've uploaded them. And finally, there's the Amanta Kit giveaway. To enter, simply comment below including the text AY Amanta Kit in brackets, and make sure you've clicked the thumbs up, have subscribed, and in 30 days I'll select a winner and put it in the mail. Now be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and keep an eye out for those, as a few previous Amanta Kits have gone unclaimed when the winners never responded to my message. Thanks for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you another time, and coming up are the menus.